Hi Luke, great to meet up with you at the range and do some further work on your game. I think I can put this session down as probably one of the most satisfying from both students and teachers' point of view that I've ever been involved with, and also one of the most productive. Some great work. Your understanding of the system and what you've got to try and do is improving all the time. Obviously we've had some frustrations. We've had a little bit of time away from the game over Christmas to consider things. And if you look at the work you've done, I mean, this is after quite a while off. And one of the things we were trying to do was get the club to line up better at P6. And when you look at some of the footage on your previous recaps, that position there is much, much better. So down the line, some of the work you've done started to pay dividends. You can still see there, however, that there's not enough flex in the right knee. The pelvis hasn't got back into flexion, etc. But it's a much better version of the swing that I last saw round about November time. So every credit to you for that. When we looked at it from face on, the issue was that the radius was still expanding from the top. And we've sent the images across of yourself and Charlie Wee, P5, P6, etc. And the thing we noticed was that our tendency here is to just push up out of the ground too fast. And the pressure, therefore, is going to the back of the left heel too quick. You've got the images that relate to that. As you do that, the left shoulder trace was working gradually upwards all the time. When we looked at Charlie's, it was staying down and then working up. So the left shoulder we also discussed, and again, you've got the images relating to that. So the P6 we see here is much tighter. We've got a little bit more flex in the left knee, and we're holding onto the accumulator a little bit longer. The reason for that is because what we've focused on here is to move the pressure down and forward as we change direction. So P4 to P5, we want the pressure moving into the front part of the lead foot. And that relates to the diagram with the dots that's sent across. And you can see the effect that has on your delivery position, the maintenance of the angles. The radius is much narrower than it was before. So here we've got a very wide radius, left shoulder to sweet spot. Here we've got a much tighter radius, left shoulder to sweet spot, and here we've got sort of in between the two. So we're starting to get a feel for what we want to do during the downswing. When we get the move better, we're leading more with the handle coming through impact. The rate of extension is much more realistic. The way the left shoulder works is completely different. It's working level before raising up, and you can see in the drill much more exaggerated. So we need more of this drill. Weight going into the lead part, of the front part of the lead foot, pushing down into the ground before then pushing up on the way through, which is what we saw more of towards the end of your session. So great session, really good productive work. Here we're just releasing all the accumulators very quick. The left shoulder's coming up very quick. See a lot of the face coming into impact. Here the left shoulder works a little bit more level. The early part of the downswing, accumulators not getting dumped as much before then pushing up. See a little bit less of the face. More of a gradual extension on the way through. Still work to do, but moving in the right direction. It's a better version of the swing that you see up above. And this is where everything's done to quite an extreme manner, but it looks great. Pressure going into the ground. Ready to the swing, narrowing. Hardly any face visible coming into the golf ball. And then we've just got to learn to push up at the correct rate on the way through. Great work, great drill, and I look forward to watching how that one progresses over the coming months. In regards to the putter, we talked about just trying to create a little bit more of a consistent arc with the stroke rather than trying to manipulate things. You would want to give yourself a little bit more room at setup. You stroke the putter really well. I just think at times it just gets a little bit guided. And again, I've sent you across the information from the Tomy system, the assessment that we did for you to digest and have a little bit of a think about between now and when we get together next. Great work, well done. I look forward to working with you again in a month or so's time.